Welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these two easy Valentine's Day cards inside of Cricut Design Space. I'm going to show you how to design them, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make them. And all we're going to use is the free shapes available in Cricut Design Space to make them. And I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut pen tool to write out your card sentiments, and I will show you all the materials and supplies you'll need, and I'll link to all of those in the description below or on my blog or in both places. So let's get started. Let's go over the list of supplies you're going to need to make this Valentine's Day heart cutout card. Now you're going to need adhesive. I'm going to be using the Aleene's Tacky Glue, but whatever adhesive you want to use, if you want to use double-sided tape, you can do that. If you want to use whatever glue, liquid glue you want to use, but I'm going to be using this for my card. I do recommend a brayer or like a Cricut brayer because this makes it it makes it a lot easier for your material to stick to your mat if your mats have some wear and tear. So I do recommend a brayer. It's not mandatory for this project, but I do recommend it. And a scoring stylus. I have a Cricut Explore Air 2, so I will be using my scoring stylus. But if you have a maker, a Cricut Maker, I do recommend the scoring wheel. And for me, I am going to be using this type of, you can see it, double-sided tape. I got this from Amazon. I will link to it with all the other supplies. And you don't have to use a double-sided tape, but for what I want to do with the card, I am going to use double-sided tape, but you don't have to. This is optional. But I will still link to it in case you want to make this card exactly the way I'm making it. And of course, a pen. I am going to be using this Hawaiian Shores pen. It's a little blurry. I don't know if you can see it. I got this pen from Altenew. This is an Altenew Artistry pen. I don't know if you can see that. I think it probably looks a little blurry. But it's an Altenew Artistry pen, and it's a double-sided dual tip pen. One has the brush tip and the other has that tip, so I'm going to be using this side of it, but you can use a regular standard Cricut pen or whatever pen fits into your Cricut machine. Like if you have a pen adapter that you could put into the first slot of your Cricut machine, you can use whatever pen you want. Or a Cricut pen. I'm using this red one, but you can use a black one. And of course, let's go over the cardstock. Now for my card base, it is going to be white, like I showed in the Cricut, like I will show in the Cricut Design Space tutorial. And this one is, this white card base is the Astro Designs 216 80-pound GSM card. It shows you right here, 80-pound 216 GSM card. So basically this means this is a medium weight cardstock. So I'm using a medium weight cardstock, and it does show right here it's compatible with cutting machines. So I will link to this or a similar one as well. And a lightweight or medium weight red cardstock, and a lightweight or medium weight pink cardstock. This one is also Astro. This is the Astro Bright, and I will link to this as well. And this one is the Michael's Recollections brand lightweight cardstock. Now you don't have to use both colors, but I'm going to use both colors because I'm planning on making two different variations of this card. You can just use red for the front cover or just use pink. You don't have to use both, but I'm using both. And of course, a Cricut cutting mat, lightweight or standard grip mat for your Cricut machine or whatever cutting machine you're using. Now, if you're using a standard grip mat, I do recommend that it has some wear and tear on it, because if you use a standard grip Cricut mat the way it is, brand new, you're going to have a hard time peeling the cardstock from the standard grip mat. So I do recommend a standard grip mat that has at least a little wear and tear on it. So that is all the materials that we're going to be using. Now let's get started with actually making the card. We're in Cricut Design Space, and this is what the end result is going to look like. So I'm going to lower all this or hide all of this, and I'm going to show you obviously how to do this from scratch. And like I said before, we're only going to use the free shapes in Cricut Design Space. And I'm going to show you first how to make a 5x7 card base. And I'm also going to show you how to make an A2 size card base. And there are a lot of different types of card sizes. A2 is very popular among handmade, I don't know why that heart went upside down. A2 size is very popular among handmade card makers. And, you know, so there's a lot of different card sizes. So you can make whatever card size you want. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to make a 5x7 card base and an A2 size card base. So I'm just going to group all of this together, and I'm going to hide it. Okay, and I'm just going to lower that card base down. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to click on shapes, and we are only going to get the heart shape, the square shape, and we're going to get the score line. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that screen. And the heart shape, we're just gonna put it to the side for now. And the score line, we're just gonna put it to the side for now. We're gonna click on the square, and we're gonna click on this lock icon and unlock it, so we can change the dimensions and proportions how we want. And I'm going to change the color to white. I prefer a white card base because it's easier to see your writing on the inside of the card over a colored card base. I mean, I do make colored card bases too sometimes, but I usually put a white piece of cardstock on the inside so you can easily see the writing. So for the width for a 5x7 card, it's going to be 10 inches. So that way when it folds in half, it'll be 5 inches. And the height is going to be 7. Okay. I'm going to put it in this corner. Okay. And I'm going to lock that. And now we're going to click on the score line, and we're going to put the score line at 5 inches right here at the top. 5 inches, this is where we're going to put it. And okay, let me click on the score line again and click arrange to bring it to front. Okay, once you've put it at the 5-inch mark at the top, you're going to use your mouse, and you're going to make sure you click on the left button on your mouse pad, on your mouse, so you can drag this box over it and highlight everything, and then you're going to click attach. And that's it. That's all you need to make a 5x7 card base. So we're going to click on shapes again. And we're going to click on the square again. Okay, and this is going to be the card front. And we're going to unlock it. And this color, I'm going to make it pink. If you want to make yours red, you can absolutely do that. And I'm going to make it almost the same size as this card front. But I want a little bit of a white border around it, like at least 0.25 or ½ inch. because I like to have that white border around it because I think it looks nicer. Okay. And so now what we're going to do, the next step we're going to do, this heart, we're going to click arrange, bring to front. I am going to lower this down a little bit more down here. Okay. So this color, the heart color could be whatever, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to make it red. So what we're going to do is we're going to size this to a little less than 2 inches. Yeah, around 1.75 inches by 1.55 inches. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate this heart 3 times. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put one right here, the other one around in this area. You don't want to put this heart right at the edge of the card because the design won't work when you do it that way. So you want to make sure there's a little bit of a gap between the heart and the edge. Same thing right here. You want to make sure there's a little bit of a gap between the top of this card front and the left of this card front. And this heart is going to be around the same. And like I said, once again, a little bit of a space between the left and the bottom. Okay. And then once your hearts look the same way as mine, once again, you're going to click on the left button on your mouse if you're on a desktop, and you're going to drag the mouse so that way this box appears, and you're going to highlight everything. But first, let me lower this card even more. Okay, let me do that again. Make sure the box highlights everything. And then right here, we're going to click combine. Mine's a little bit cut off. And we're going to click subtract. And that's it. This is going to be our card front. And I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to make it red because there is a different design version of this card I'm going to show you once we actually get to the card making process. Okay, and the last thing we are going to do is I'm going to get the shapes tool. I'm going to click on shapes again. And we are going to make our card sentiment. And the reason we're going to put the card sentiment on here versus the card base itself is like in case we mess up, we won't ruin the base. So when we put the sentiment on this card piece over the card base, if for some reason the Cricut messes up on the pen drawing feature or something happens and it doesn't look good, it doesn't look right, and it just looks funky or something comes up, you could just throw it away. Whereas if we were to put the sentiment right on the card base itself and the Cricut messes up or it doesn't draw it right or the pen doesn't appear all the way or whatever could come up, that way you're not wasting the card base. That way if it messes up on this card front, this white card front, you could just toss it and throw it away and do it again. Versus with the card base, it sucks to have to throw away an entire card base. So I'm just sizing this to be around the same size as the pink card base. Okay. Yeah, it's around the same size more or less. If it's a little bit smaller, that's okay. That's all right. That's fine as long as the heart fits over it. I'm going to click arrange so I can bring it to front. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on text. And now we're going to add our sentiment. And for this design to work, the sentiment you use, it needs to be like 3 phrases, like be my Valentine, or sending hugs and kisses, or sending you hugs, or something along those lines. Or if you just want to put 3 cute Valentine's Day phrases, like one right here, one right here, one right here, kind of like those conversation heart candy pieces. You can do that as long as you have like 3 words to put in each heart. Okay, so now the font I'm going to use a system font, but I am going to show you how to find a free Cricut writing font. So if you're going to use the filter button right here, and you're going to click on writing, and then you're going to click free. And when you do that, it only shows you the free writing fonts that you can use in Cricut Design Space. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use a system font. And the system font I use is called DTC Just Peachy. And I will link to it either in the description below or in my blog or both. So now I'm going to type in B. And I want to make sure it fits within this heart. So I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it can fit in the box. And I'm going to duplicate it. And then right here I'm going to put my. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller just so it can fit better. I'm going to duplicate it again. And this one's going to say Valentine. And I'm going to make sure that this fits within the box. Or within the heart, I should say. Sorry, my computer is loading. Okay. There we go. Now the last step what we're going to do is we're going to click on each text and we're going to change it from basic cut to pen. And click on each text box and change it from basic cut to pen so that way your Cricut knows to draw the letters instead of trying to cut the letters out of a specific material. Pen. And that's it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this. And we're going to attach everything. And also, whatever pen you're using, Cricut pen or whatever pen you're going to use, make sure you change it to the color of the pen that you're going to use ahead of time. So to do that, you're going to click on your text and you're going to click on this button right here so you can change the color to whatever color of the pen you're going to use. So we're going to highlight everything and we're going to click attach. And I'm going to click arrange to front. And that's it. And I'm going to put this over here. Now, a couple of more things we're going to do is I'm going to click on the heart again. And I'm going to change it to red. Okay, so now what, the last step I'm going to do to add a little bit of pizzazz to the front of the card, I'm going to make this heart smaller, and I'm going to duplicate it so I could put it in different spots. Pizzazz type element to the card. And also I'm going to make a couple of additional hearts to put on the inside of the card and on the back of the card. Now, as I'm going to show you how to make a 2 card base. It's
fairly easy. So we're going to group all of this together at the bottom. So now we're going to go to shapes again. And I'm going to click on the square shape. And just like with the 5x7 base, we're going to make it white. Unclick the icon. Oh, and we're also going to click on the score line. And right here at the top, the width is going to be 8.5. And the height is going to be 5.5. Okay. And now I'm going to put it in the corner just like the other one. And for an A2 size card, the score line goes at the 4.25 line. And 4.25, I think, is usually, I feel like that's a little crooked. Okay. 4.25 line, I believe it's around right here. But the easiest way to tell where 4.25 or 4.25 is you're going to click on edit. And right here in the X position, the X is this top line right here that goes from left to right. And we're going to enter in 4.25. And when you do that and the score line is selected, it puts the score line at 4.25. If I were to select and put in 4.5, it would move it to 4.5. But when I add the 2 in there, it moves it back to 4.25. So I'm going to click on the score line again to double check that that's okay. And then once it is where it's supposed to be, just like with the 5x7 card base, you're going to highlight everything and then you're going to click attach. And that's it. And if an A2 size card is smaller than a 5x7 card, just to let you know in case you didn't know. And all the design elements we made, you can just size them all to fit an A2 size card if that's the size you want to make. So that's it. Once you're happy with everything, you're going to click make it, and your Cricut machine is going to sort everything according to different color mats. And also remember to put your pen in the pen slot when your Cricut prompts you to, because you're going to be using a scoring stylus or scoring wheel and a pen. So make sure you add in the pen and that you don't forget, because if you just leave your scoring stylus in there, if you have a Cricut machine that used a scoring stylus over a Cricut scoring wheel, you want to make sure you take it out and put in your pen. So that is it for this part. So we're going to actually go and make the card. So I will see you at the next part of the tutorial.
Okay, now I am filling in the lettering on the card, because if you notice in Cricut Design Space, when the pen feature is used, it'll create like this outline where it doesn't fill in the lettering for you, and you'll have to fill in the lettering yourself. I know there are hacks and tricks to getting your Cricut to fill in the lettering for you, but I didn't do that this time around, and I just wanted the video to be easier to understand for beginners, like this tutorial. So I'm just filling in the lettering myself here. And I'm doing it for each lettering. And I think I will speed this part up because it's kind of boring and I don't want you to get bored at this part. So I'm going to speed it up here. Okay, now for this next part, if you just want to use glue or double-sided tape and just stick the card front panel with the hearts on it to the Be My Valentine card front panel, you can definitely do that to make it easier. But for me, I'm going to use double-sided foam tape for this part because I want to add some dimension to the card and add a little bit of interest. So that's what I'm going to do for this part. And I am using these foam strips that I got from
Amazon. And I will link to all my materials in the description for this video and as well as in the blog post. And personally, I really love these foam strips because they're really bendable. Like you can bend them in a lot of different shapes. So they're perfect for shakers. So, and you get a lot of them with the set that I bought from Amazon. So I love this foam tape. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to speed this up, this part up, or cut it out so you're not just watching me put on this foam tape. Okay, I added my foam tape. I peeled off the backing and now I'm putting the card front, the heart panel, I should say, on the front of my card, and I'm making sure it's aligned. And one trick you could do if you're using double-sided foam tape and you want to make sure it gets aligned to your card front or whatever paper project you're making is to add a little bit of glue to each foam tape, because then that'll give you a little bit of extra, time to get the alignment right. Okay, now the card panel, the card front is done. And as you can see the extra dimension from the foam tape, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. That's why I liked using the foam tape for this card front. And I feel like it adds like a little bit of sturdiness to the card as well, and it just adds a little bit of something. So now what I'm going to do is fold the card base according to the score line that we added. And I don't know if you can see the score line right there. So now I'm just going to fold the card base, and then we're going to add the card panel to the card base. Now, to help you fold your card, you can use a bone folder or you can use your Cricut scraper. I'm using my Cricut scraper to help me have a nice crease and a nice fold on my card. But you can use either one, a bone folder. If you don't have a Cricut scraper or a bone folder, you can just use like an old credit card or just use your fingers. Whatever you have, whatever works. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to adhere this card front to the card base. And for this part, you can use whatever you have, whatever you want. If you want to use double-sided tape, you can do that. If you want to use foam tape again, you can do that if you used foam tape for the other parts. Or you can use liquid glue like I'm using. I'm using the Aleene's Tacky Glue, and I bought this from Hobby Lobby. But they sell Aleene's glue pretty much everywhere and on Amazon as well. And you can use whatever liquid glue you have. If you have the Beerly Arts, you can use that. Whatever glue you have, whatever adhesive you have, go ahead and use it. And I'm just going to add it to the back of my card. And what I like to do when I'm using liquid glue is I don't put it directly on the edge of when I'm making a card, because I don't want the glue to smush out and make a mess. So I usually put the glue away from the edge of a card when I'm making a card. So now that that's done, we're just going to add it to the back. And I do like liquid glue because it gives me time to get the alignment right. And with Aleene's, it doesn't dry right away, so it does give me the extra time to get the alignment right. Other glues that dry fast, you will only have like a couple seconds at the most. But with Aleene's, it doesn't dry so quick, so you get the time to get the alignment right, because I don't get the alignment right all the time when I'm making cards or projects like this. So now I'm just, pressing it to make sure that it is stuck and adhered, and wiping off any debris or anything that got onto the card and making sure everything is right. And I really do like to press down and make sure the glue is nice and adhered. And I only recommend doing that if you didn't glob on your glue. That's why you don't want to glob on liquid glue. So that way, when you go to press whatever you're gluing, you don't get all of that glue smushing out. And I had a little bit smush out in the bottom right corner, so I'm moving that. Okay, I am just adding the hearts now to the front of the card. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to, but it adds a little something to the front of the card. And you can make the hearts as big as you want or as small as you want. You can even use glitter cardstock for this part. I didn't think to use glitter cardstock at the time, but you definitely could. Or if you wanted to make like printable heart stickers that have like little sayings on them or something and be more creative, you can definitely do that for sure. Okay, so now that my hearts are adhered on the front, I'm going to add a couple of them to the inside of the card at the bottom right corner so they're out of the way, just to add a little something to the inside of the card so the card is not so plain. I think like most of the time when you're making a handmade card, we tend to forget to decorate the inside of it. And like I said before, that you can use whatever you want to use. You don't have to use red cardstock. You can use glitter or even printable vinyl, like vinyl stickers. You'll make some heart stickers, or you can use um, regular vinyl. Like you can use red permanent vinyl or HTV to make it easier. You don't want to use cardstock and glue. And now that looks like the card is just about done, making sure that the hearts are adhered and pressed on there right. And there's plenty of space to write on the inside of it. And overall, I love the way this card turned out. It is one of my favorite cards that I have made. And the beauty part about this card is you can give it to anybody. You could change the sentiment on the front to even be my Galentine if you celebrate Galentines instead of Valentines with your girlfriends or whoever. You could just change the wording on the front to match whoever it is you're going to give it to. And I think it just turned out really nice. And the only thing left I'm going to do is I'm going to add a heart to the back of it just to, add a little something to the back as well. I'm really happy with the way this card turned out. And I hope you enjoyed putting together this card as much as I did. It's one of my favorites. And now I'm going to show you the second card that I made. And all I did was change out the color and the hearts. I made them pink instead of red. And I put foam tape behind each one of them so they would pop out and kind of have a 3D effect. And I put the sentiment to the left of it instead of writing it on each of the, spaces in the hearts. So you can see that with this card layout, there's different things you can do with it. You can even use pattern paper if you want. You could use glitter cardstock. There's a lot of different options for this card layout. So I really love the way both of these cards turned out, and I hope this gave you some ideas for Valentine's Day cards, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end and watching this video, and I'll see you next time.